let's build a rocket stove. It's going to be out of 6x6 square tubing. We're going to make it 16 inches long from front to back. It's going to be somewhere around 2 foot tall from top to bottom. And when it's all said and done, I should be able to put in at least a 16-inch piece of wood. And I actually think it's going to end up being somewhere around a 20-inch. In here. The top is going to taper down to 3-inch. And the reason that I'm using 6-inch is because that's what I got laying around. The reason that I'm using 3-inch is that's because I've got some 3-inch laying around. It's scrap. Got 3-inch stainless, and I got some 6-inch square tubing. I've already made my first cut on the square tubing, so we're going to start from here. And this is my first cut. It's already cut before I decided to make the video. Yeah, I've got some holes in it, but we're going to probably cut around a few of them and I can weld over those. We're going to clean this up and use it. So I've got my first piece cut. My second piece is going to come off the back. It's going to stick straight up like this. And the total height of this piece is going to be 2 foot tall. So 6 inches off of 2 foot is 18 inches. My next piece is going to be about 18 inches long. About. Doesn't have to be exact. It's not rocket science. It's a rocket stove. It's not rocket science. It's a rocket stove. Got my second piece cut. Cut it to 18 inches. It's going to go right on the back. Just like this. Now I got one more piece to cut. It's going to come out like a 45. I want it to come out even with the front of this. So wherever it meets 45 out to here. I don't think that piece is going to make it. So I'll have to cut off a piece off of that. I can't read this little square, but it's 12 inches long. This little mark I put right here is 3 inches, so that's half of a 6. So the front of this 45 piece will end up being somewhere around here. So it'll be like that. So I'm going to make this piece, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it 12 inches long. And like I said, it's not rocket science, and if it's not exactly flush with the front of this, it don't have to be. That's just the way I was wanting it. And if close, will be good. So I'm going to make this next piece 12 inches long, and then I'm going to have to put 45s on each side of it. And with the statement I made earlier about this piece not being long enough, it is 13 and a half. It is plenty long enough. I've just got some nasty looking welds to cut off of it. Bust it loose. So basically I laid out a couple of 45s to cut off these ends. Like that. So they'll go in there just like that magnet piece. So we got this piece cut. Basically, this is my piece that I just cut. And it's not even. It's sticking out a little bit. I think I'm good with that though, because it was pre-cut. I didn't have to cut it again. Well, I've got some more cutting to do, and I will jerk out the torch for this. Come inside here. Come inside here. Inside there. That's what I did is I marked every bit of this is going to get cut out, but I'm just going to come in with the torch and cut and leave, I don't know, 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. Cut that out. I'm going to leave enough to weld to. Just going to leave 1/4 inch or so on the inside of that little line that I just marked. So I just set this up here and marked this. Gotta cut out some of that. And looking down in here, I mean, if I do anything, I might take a grinder and knock off some of this slag. That's about it. I'm gonna cut this something like that. Something like that. Something like that. So now it's time to clean up all these pieces right here. Probably help if I turn that up a little bit. Go on. On the cross pipe first. Talking about. Bring you in closer. This end is sticking up right here. I'm just gonna hammer it down. Looks a lot better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this all out, and we'll take a look at it after I'm done. but I want to find some legs or make some legs for it. Sometimes I just have to sit back and look at it, think about it. I don't want it just to be some junk pieces of rebar. Maybe it can be some junk pieces of rebar. It's the art of it sometimes. I want to build me a little getaway tiny home camper. I'll throw a picture up. Boom, there it is. Something like that. And this will go in it. I'm not going to heat it with it. It will heat it, but this will be more for my relaxation of building a fire, being able to go over to it and just relax. So I'm going to put you on the time lapse and weld this thing out. So it's been a couple days since that little welding scene, and I added a couple legs, and I just threw something together out of rebar, made a little curl on the end, and I added a foot prop for a foot warmer. You know, like if you're standing by it and you want to prop your foot up to warm it up, place to put your foot. So now I'm down to cutting the doors, and got my workbench set up. Got this little piece of diamond plate, and I want to cut doors out of this diamond plate for that. So my 6x6 measures out to be 6 1/16 of an inch. And I'm going to make the doors fall on the outside of that. So I'm going to try to get it just a little bigger than 6 1/16. And when it's all said and done, I'm going to try to wrap it in something like 3/4 or 1 inch flat bar. I just have to show you what I'm talking about when I mean wrap it. So what I'm going to do is, this measures right at 12 inches. I'm going to have to make do with what I got. Make do with what I have right here. I'm going to try to spare you all the bore of all this marking and cutting. Fast forward through most of all this. When you're marking, I don't know if you can see that. See how I got that sharpened? Put the flat side up against your square. That's why the files are in here. You can use a sander, use the concrete, use whatever. But I'm going to cut this and then mark out another one. Probably going to go ahead and mark out another one and then cut them all. But it's going to be fast forward from right here. for a door. But for now, I want to radius these corners to fit this piece just the same. I'm gonna take it over to the belt sander. So let's go to the belt sander. So even though I've got this marked with my soapstone, just the radiuses, I brought the rocket stove over here so that I can sit it on top of it, check the fit. I think one's too small. So now I've moved on to just putting the door on like this. What I want to do is I'm going to square this off really nice and flat and make sure that this fits on perfectly flat, okay? With no gap. There's not going to be a gap in it when I'm done. I'll file it, I'll take a flapper wheel, grind it, whatever I got to do to make sure it's perfectly flat. But now I'm on to the hinges. So do I go get a weld on hinge? Just no junk door hinge. Do I weld it on like this? I've been contemplating on this for probably 2 hours. People don't understand how much time goes into fabricating things. So this is what I come up with. I got some 1/2" square stock. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I've cut 12 pieces, 4 for each door. Got 3 doors, 2.5" long. Okay, took it over to the chop saw, 2.5 inches. I've already made one hinge, and I'm going to build another one. I'm going to let you watch me build it. This is my hinge that I've built. And it's primitive looking. It's 1/4 inch stock holding it together. When I got done with it, I took an air needler and went all over it to try to distress it. Basically, it's gonna weld on just like this, and when I want, I'll be able to lift the door off because only one side's gonna be bradded on. I'm gonna take and heat this up and hammer that over just a little bit, and that'll slide right off with the door. So I'm going to make one more set. I'm going to let you see how I made it, and then we'll weld a door on, and hopefully my plan don't change again. We'll see how it goes. All right, so I'm going to make one hinge using 2 of these pieces of square stock. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round the end of it. Not like that. Now I'm going to do the other one. So got them both rounded. Let's go over to the drill press. So I got both of these pieces. I'm going to double stack them in the drill press. The reason I double stacked them, I'm going to drill them both at the same time, and the pin is going to be in this. It's going to be even. So I used a 1/4-inch drill bit to drill this, and I'll use a 1/4-inch pin to pin these with when I'm ready. But what I want to do is I want to put a profile on this, like this, and probably about half of the width of this, something like that. And something like that, just to make them look cool. I could put them on there just like that. I could put them on there whole, but I'm not going to. I could use several different things here to cut this. Got these two pieces made, and I really wanted to be a little more particular with them. And I don't think I'm going to be as particular with them. I'm going to show you what I did to try to distress them out. I just took a air needler and roughed them up. So let's go rough them up. I got them. These two, I got them in the. Let's go rough them up. So I just took this screwdriver to hold it. You know, it's 1/4 inch, and got this air needler. And this is going to be loud, so it's probably just going to be fast forward. And this is all I did. So now I got 2 hinges made. This is a distressed look. And I'm going to try to put a door on. I've looked all around my shop, and I've only got, I don't have any 1/4-inch rods, so I'm probably just going to use some 1/4-inch bolt and make me some pins. I really would like to have some brass rod, but anyways. Let's put a door on. So on the bottom hinge there. I went over and ground the diamond off the plate so that the hinge would fit flat. It wouldn't stick up when I went to weld it. I'm going to take a torch, heat the end of the pin up, stand it up, hammer the end of the pin down, and that way the pin will stay in one end of the hinge, the top end of the hinge. Turn this down quite a bit. Come on. probably shouldn't use this pin. It's galvanized coated. Guess we're gonna live and learn. Live and learn. That's what I wanted. And it's turning with it, so let's do the other one. Shouldn't have turned that torch off like that. So I've got a door completely finished. I've showed you how to make the hinges. It's all welded on, and I made a handle. And now I'm going to show you how to make the handle. This piece here spins completely around. I've got a piece of 1/2 inch square stock in here. It's welded in. This piece is 1/2 inch round stock with thick 1/2 inch stainless washers. This is stainless. That's a valve spring out of a small block Chevy. And it locks in tight. And I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of 1/2 inch round stock, 8 inches a piece, and it happens to be stainless. You can use carbon. I just happen to have stainless, and that's what I'm using. This round stock comes through this door. It has a 90 on it that's about 1 inch long. It comes through the door. It's about 2 inches long, and then a 90 with the spring on it. I don't even know how long this piece is. I just put the spring on it and then cut it off after I put the spring on it. You can make this as long as you want. Mark the piece at 1 inch. I'm going to deburr them first. I forgot to do that. This is all I did right here. Put this in my vise. Make sure it's pretty straight looking. Crank it down. I've got this tube that slides over this. It fits pretty tight. That helps me keep it pretty tight, 90-degree bend. Pretty tight 90. Really not even measuring that distance. I want it somewhere around 2 inches. I just need enough space for a couple washers and the thickness of the door and another bin. I need to drill off the side of that door 1.5 inches to get this 1/8 of an inch off the sidewall. If you put this on here and this handle, does not spin without hitting the sidewall, it's too close. I'm gonna go over here and polish a little bit of this off. No more than 1/8 of an inch. We're good now. My next step is going to be welding the latch part on the inside down in here. So what I want is the top end of it to be kind of flush with the, just a little bit below, probably like 1/8 of an inch below the end, and this end to be like 1/2 inch below. So I'll tack this end up and then just weld this all the way across the top. See the angle? That way it'll be a wedge when it locks in. I got these really thick washers that I'm going to slide on here. One on the inside and one on the outside of it, okay? And put a washer on it and slide this through. And I want to turn the handle to where it barely catches the inside of that. Well, you got to make sure the hinges are all the way set in. They're working their way out. This is hot. Probably need to let it cool down. So right there, the handle's just starting to catch that piece of 1/2 inch square stock in there. I want it nice and tight. So I'm lifting up on it nice and tight. I want to lock that in place. Okay? I just want it barely catching it. Right where it starts to catch it, right there. Cool that off a little bit. Now let's put the inside washer on. I want it as tight as I can get it. Got all my doors made. Everything works really well. And now it's time for the top. I went ahead and cut it out. It's a 6x6 piece of steel. And I got to put that piece of 3-inch stainless pipe in it. I'd really like for this to taper up. I really don't know that that makes that much of a difference, if it does at all. But I'm going to go over to the press and try to turn this upside down on the press and press some sort of a cone in it, no matter how much it is. If it's just a little bit, I want to be good with it. So let's go over to the press and see what we can do. See how it looks. Did pretty much exactly what I wanted it to. Gave me plenty to weld out. So now I'll weld that out. First off, I'll cut this hole with the torch and make it the same size as my pipe. I'll weld that on. Then I'll put my pop on it. And keep from moving it. And I'm gonna cut it out with the torch. Well, I thought I was recording and I wasn't, so it really doesn't matter. I welded the top on it and I had to resort to heating and beating welding service, but it still has somewhat of a dome shape to it. It's going to be perfect for what I want, even though it looks all ugly. I'm going to take that piece of pipe laying there, clean up the end of it, take it over to the welding table and weld it on with some 309 stainless. This is steel, that's stainless. 309 is going to put it together. I'm trying to set this camera up so you guys can somewhat see this. You want to make something square. It's 1 7/16. 1 5/8, so it needs to come to me on top. I'll change it a little bit. Just 1 3/8. Shove it out to 1 3/8 right there. 1 3/8 right there. I need to shove it out a little bit because what's going to happen is as soon as it gets tacked up, it's going to draw together. Go with that. Put a healthy tack right here. It's a big old gap. I really don't want to move this camera. It took me 15 minutes to set it up. Big nasty gap. I do need to sharpen my tungsten. I'm not back purging this. This is a stove. Who cares? Come on in. I bet you can see in that camera and he's coming to me. Take some force too, because I got a big old tank. Whoa, too much force. Side because I pulled it this way. How many of y'all like it like that? didn't realize that my phone was full, the storage was full, and it shut down. So I had to go through and delete about 1,000 videos. And I don't have any idea where it shut down. But where I'm at is I'm welding this pipe onto the top. I've got my root pass in, and I'm going to do a cover pass. I'm going to freehand it again, because if I walk the cup, it's so bumpy, all this diamond plate, that I just don't think that I can do a good walk the cup. So I'll just do another freehand on it, see how that turned up. Let's bring you in for a close next thing to do is go build a fire in it. So I'm going to pack this outside, go get some wood, see if I can build a fire in it. Take you all along with me, and sit up here for the rest of the evening and post this on YouTube. And for those of you that made it this far, I want to thank every one of you all, and go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe button and share button and all that kind of stuff. Watch my other videos. Got a nice video on this Galaxy in the background, pushing over 600 horse on the dyno. That's a nice one. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up adding a mechanical dampener down here somewhere, maybe on the side, and it's probably going to be a screw in out top, instead of having to crack the door open for it to get air. Just like my insert in my house, just has a screw out damper. But I gotta find the right piece first, and I don't have one. But I'm gonna load this up with some wood, and you can see that it's, I don't know, I guess I can measure it, but it's 14 inches long. It's actually already shoved quite a bit down in there, and I'm gonna stuff it full and pack it outside and go light it and see how well it burns, if it burns at all inside here. I'm gonna go have me some pizza first. I've got the first fire here in the backyard. Man, this thing is pulling great. So far, I am satisfied. Later on, I will probably be adding a mechanical dampener on the side that screws out or in, and I just got to find the right piece for that. So far, I like it.